which could further slow down an atypical election year. With me now is Kurt Bardella. He's the former spokesperson for the House Oversight Committee and senior advisor for the Lincoln Project. Also with me is Michael Starr Hopkins. He's the founding partner of Northern Star Strategies. Kurt, let's start with this. Why is the Trump administration suing?
Well, Richard, it's very simple. At the end of the day, one political party in this country believes that if all the votes are counted, they will win. The other party believes that if all the votes are counted that are cast, they will lose. Everything that we're seeing right now from Donald Trump's campaign and the Republican Party and their silence to Trump's illicit and direct pleas for voter fraud in this country are designed to try to disenfranchise this election, sow confusion, create a situation where they can try and literally steal this election before all the votes are cast. We've seen some of this before, going back to 2000 and tactics that Republicans employed then, and it's like 2000 on steroids right now. This is going to be potentially the most litigious election that we've ever had in our country. And at the end of the day, the reality is this. Go ahead, Richard.
Yeah, Kurt, I was going to ask you, because as a former Republican, are you saying all Republicans believe what the Trump administration is doing and its view that you brought up, that you just described to us?
Well, I believe this. If you are not publicly speaking out against this, if you are not going to the nearest microphone, to the nearest social media, to the nearest place where you can tell everyone that follows you that this is wrong and you don't believe this, then yes, you believe it, you are complicit, you are helping, your silence makes you complicit. We're past the point now where you can just hide your head in the sand, say nothing, pretend like you didn't hear about something or see something the way Republicans have done for so long now. It's either speak now or you are complicit and an accomplice in it.
Michael, if you're a Democrat, you would agree with what Kurt is saying here, certainly, and add on top of that, when you thought voter suppression could not get worse from that perspective, it just might get worse.
Yeah, I mean, that's the name of the game for the Trump campaign. It's not turn out as many voters as they can. It's suppress the vote and stop as many voters as they can. And Kurt hit the nail on the head. When you don't have good policies and when you don't have the support of America, what you do is scare the hell out of everybody. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're sowing discord, they're confusing everyone, and they're trying to terrify people to the point that they don't believe the election, no matter what happens, will be legitimate. And that's not an American thing. That's something we used to see in Russia and in the Soviet bloc, not here. Well, now it's come to our shores, and we have a decision to make. Are we going to do something about it? Are Republicans going to stand up and push back? Are we going to lose our democracy? And that's kind of the question of the 2020 election.
And part of losing that democracy in that scenario that you laid out here, Michael, over to you, Kurt, is I think seen in this Suffolk University poll when they were asking voters, well, would you accept the outcome of the election as fair? And I think we've got that full screen. But the bottom line is that Biden supporters say 28% will not accept opponent's victory as fairly won. Trump supporters, 19%. What does that tell you, Kurt?
Well, on one end, you have the Trump campaign, who has constantly said this election will be rigged, it'll be ripe with fraud. So, of course, their rhetoric is designed so that their supporters don't accept the outcome of the election, which I think that they believe that Biden will win. That's why that they're doing this right now. On the other end, if you're a Biden supporter, we've already known that there is influence, foreign influence in this election to try to help Donald Trump. We know that Donald Trump is using the instruments of government, such as the U.S. Postal Service, and installing his own Postmaster General to try to stop the flow of voting, to stop the flow of counting ballots, to impact the way that mail is delivered in this country. We know that they're doing this, and they've broadcasted it in broad daylight. So each side, in their minds, have a reason to doubt the outcome of this election. And I suspect, Richard, one of the first questions you're going to see the Donald Trump and Joe Biden asked at the first debate is, will you accept the outcome of the election?
Hey, Michael, as we shift now to which way the wind is blowing, because we're going through the key Labor Day weekend after the nominees have been nominated, what does it tell you in terms of where they're traveling? And they're all hitting the swing states, Pennsylvania, for instance, today. This as Real Clear Politics, the president and CEO, saying, hey, when you look at the numbers in the swing states, Biden's ahead by 3 percentage points. That's less than half of what he is nationally. What does that tell you about what the campaigns are doing on both sides?
Well, both campaigns know that the name of the game is winning these swing states, which are going to be won by extremely small margins. Hillary Clinton lost the election by 77,000 ballots. If you look at 2018, Andrew Gillum lost that gubernatorial race in Florida by 30,000 votes. I mean, this is going to come down to a college football stadium worth of votes. Yeah. And to a campaign, that's what keeps you awake every single night.
Yeah, because it was, what, 80,000 votes in the last election that made the difference across those 3 swing states. And Kurt, the further point that the CEO and president of Real Clear Politics, looking at the average, said was that this is the same difference, the 3 percentage points, that Hillary Clinton had at the very same point in the election last time.
Yeah, again, I think we kind of have a natural instinct to draw comparisons from 2016 to 2020. I also think that one of the important things to keep track of, too, is the reality that since then we also had a major national election in 2018 that saw incredibly robust turnout for Democrats, incredible enthusiasm for Democrats. It was a mandate on Donald Trump, and the Republicans got shellacked. They lost 40 seats. I think as we look at what's going to happen now, of course the race was going to naturally tighten as we went along and got past Labor Day. That was expected. We know that there's going to be some inflection points with the 3 debates that will happen and the vice presidential debate as well. And overall, what I'm looking for here is the reality that Donald Trump is no longer a theory. In 2016, there was a novelty to him. There was an uncertainty. What would this look like? That's gone now. We've had 4 years of this, and all the while, there's a raging pandemic going on that's still getting worse and worse, and more Americans are dying. And I think that that's going to be the most pivotal thing between now and November is what happens with the coronavirus.
Well, I'm going to ask the question that Michael and I want to ask you. What's over your shoulder? Normally on Sundays we got donuts on our table, and you got, it looks like a feast sitting behind you. I don't know what's on that table.
We have, I'm going to tell you, I'm out in California in Sonoma. We got figs and tomatoes, homegrown here in our family's garden, and flowers celebrating my in-laws' anniversary.
Well, Michael, we'll call him Farmer Kurt, I guess. Farmer Kurt Bardella, right? Michael Starr Hopkins, thank you as well. We enjoyed the conversation both. Thank you. It's more important than ever that voters know the rules in their states so they can plan their vote. Our interactive state-by-state guide has everything you need to know about casting your ballot in 2020. Visit NBCnews.com/